Hello, everyone. This is Perla, BCSGA's Student of Activities Director, and I am with Gian, who is a candidate for BCSGA President, and he will be on the BCSGA 2020 Spring Elections ballot, and it is opened starting yesterday from April 13th at 8 a.m., and it is ending on April 16th, Thursday at a minute before 4 p.m. How are you doing, Gian?
I'm good, Perla. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So our first question is, Gian, what makes you different from the other candidates running?
Perla, I think that's a really great question. A literal obvious answer would be I have served in BCSGA over the past year, but I wouldn't just say that. I don't think I could, answer the question fully because I personally don't know about the other presidential candidates. I think it would be an illogical and unfair leap to make if I have a comparison and say that I'm a better candidate than David Litton or I'm a better candidate than Alex Mitchell. However, I could tell you about how I define myself, and in one word, that would be hard. I give my all in everything that I love and do, and BCSGA happens to be one of them. I believe in the saying that every day we are given two gifts. First is the gift of choice, the choice to be happy. And second is the gift of chance, the chance to live the day fully. And I hold those values close to my heart. I live my life with passion, hard work, tenacity, and more importantly, respect for others. I hold these values to myself and I'm sticking to them.
Let's go ahead and move on to our second question. Why do our listeners deserve your vote, Gian?
I think I deserve their vote because, I'm not any different from them. Just like them, I'm a student. I'm a renegade. And my vision is to put their needs, their ambitions and interests, above myself. They deserve a president and a government, that will embody honesty and humility, perseverance and unity, decency and compassion. And that right there is the core of, BCSGA. We're not just about being the figures in our respective positions. We're more about who the figure serves. And who the figure serves in this case would be the student body.
What ideas would you implement if you were elected?
Well, I don't have much, but I would say my plan of action would be to continue the things that we did right over the past year. Whether it be, the events that we successfully organized or our strive to make the spread of information possible, especially in times like this when the students need it the most. I mean, even what you're doing right now, Perla, and I really admire that because I think it's really important that we stay connected, to students, and make sure tell them, directly or indirectly that they're not alone. All throughout their careers at BC and wherever and hopefully wherever that may lead them, that we're together in this. And without that connection, I think it's really important to maintain it. Without that connection, there would be no BCSGA. We would not work and function right. The task of the president and the BCSGA is to reach out to students on every level. And that will vary, from addressing problems in class or seeking help with the well-being, security, or health, or attaining their basic needs of just food for the day, just because they don't have the means to provide for themselves. Our goal is to make sure the students are getting the optimal amount of services, when they need it, because, that is our job. And that is my main idea, to keep doing the things to keep doing the things that we have been doing right over the past year and expand on it whenever possible.
Fourth question is, how will you represent your constituents as if you were elected?
I could only represent my constituents well, if I'm doing my job, and if I take seriously my oath with absolute sincerity, and that oath, that same oath, that's my resolve. It's my motivation. It's my inspiration. To me, it's a promise to myself that, I will never give up for them. And like I said earlier, I need to do whatever it takes to reach that, whatever it takes to reach that promise, and that includes, a lot of talking more. That includes putting myself out there more. And for example, right now, or for the past year, our voter turnouts have been in single digits. And that to me is quite an alarming fact. But to me, the goal is to increase the number every single day. If we increase, our participation with students, our connection with students, if we increase those numbers and maximize the amount of students that we reach to every day, only then we could say that we are properly doing our jobs. Only then that we could say that I'm doing my job as president. Because as president, you are the face of the student body. You represent them on the college level, on the local level, and even on the state level. But it takes the fundamental steps to reach out more to students. And I think that will be one of my main focuses if given the chance, the opportunity to serve as president.
What is your leadership style?
I think I lead by my motivation, by example, by open communication. And pertaining to that, I would like to quote, one of my childhood heroes, the late Kobe Bryant. And he said this when he retired. And he said, the most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. That is the goal of, championship teams in any sport. That is the goal of any team in life, whether it be, in business or in a classroom, a group. That's what student government stands for. It's about bringing the best in each other, and working hard, pursuing relentlessly the goals and visions, that you lay out. And if president, I think that will be my greatest accomplishment. A part of it is, the accolades or the tasks you accomplish. That's important too. But I think my greatest accomplishment is a working accomplishment. It's, the relationship that I form with others. It's the impact that I have on others. And as you may know, Perla, we entered SGA, took the oath at the same time. And that, just looking back at where we were and, everything that we went through, together as a team in SGA, I think that's really something special. And that's something that I would never forget and I would not replace with the world.
Gian, do you feel comfortable publicly speaking and presenting?
Right now, I would say so. But to be honest with you, when I was in my childhood, I was the shyest kid. I would not budge in class. I was the last person to reach my hand. Interactions with other people, I was so shy. But, over the past few years, I cultivated that part of me. I learned that, I love talking to other people. I love sharing my ideas and sharing those ideas and converse them to other people. And, I've been fortunate enough in high school to be part of this program called We the People. It's a mock congressional hearing that, and then you're in front of a panel and you get to analyze and give your own thoughts about, the U.S. Constitution, the basis of our founding history and how that affects today, and that really cultivated, that confidence in me. And ever since then, it's just been better and better for me. Yeah. So yes, I would say that I'm comfortable speaking in public and graduated high school a year ago, and I was blessed enough to be the graduation speaker. And I think that's the beauty of public speaking. It's being able to impart a message on others and being able to effectively do that over the years and I think it's a beauty to watch.
What is the most difficult decision you've ever had to make during your last leadership position? How did you arrive at your decision, and what was the result?
Well, my last leadership position is, what my position is right now, which is BCSGA Center. Like, I can't quite fully point out the hardest decision, but I would say that it's like every decision that I make with the Senate and the student government. I think you have to take it seriously. You can't take it lightly because every decision you make as a senator or any other position in the legislative or in the executive of the student government, it has the potential to make changes, positive changes for the student body. And you got to make sure that you're making decisions with courage, you're making decisions with conviction, because like I said earlier, it's not just about yourself. This is about more or less 36,000 students at BC. I would say every decision has to be a hard decision because you take it seriously. And recently, the past Senate session, we just passed a transportation and healthcare resolution that has gone into the ballot. And I think that was a hard decision for me. I had to make sure that, it's not just about my own interest, that this is for the interests of every single student, that they will benefit from them. And, it's a matter of staying true to oneself. It's some personal matter can come to it too. You could find yourself, find yourself in a situation, well, oh, I'm putting my energy in the wrong things or in some bad habits or in some personal relationships. And it's being able to identify those matters and problems and being able to respond to it. I think that's the hard part, being able to distinguish which is which. Because at the end of the day, as a person, as a student representative of the whole student body, you have to make yourself whole because, others need you whole. Others need you at your best because they need you to be there for them.
Ending with that, is there anything else you would like to communicate to our listeners, Gian?
I think there's something, I think it's really important, especially at this time. There is without a doubt that all of us are experiencing one of the toughest, more consequential periods of our times with this coronavirus pandemic. And, it's really a tough time because, from the factors of transitioning to an online class, like you're missing the experience you get from a face-to-face lecture, or whether it be like worrying about your friends and family. For example, I have a mom who's a frontliner as a nurse, and I have a grandma who just recently traveled to Idaho for my aunt, and you can't help but worry for them. You can't help but worry, but then again, you have to be strong for them. You have to be strong for them by remaining, composed, by remaining vigilant and disciplined throughout this time. And, at the end of the day, and this doesn't just refer to BCSGA, this refers to any aspect in life. We will be measured by how we respond to this because life is what we make it, always has been and always will be. It's just really important to keep that fundamental quality of hope and faith in yourselves, faith in everyone that they will do their jobs and partake in our struggle to end this pandemic. And I think that's the beauty of it all. Despite all the difficulties that we face, we get to see who we are. We get to see the soul of each and every one of us and what we really stand for, together. And, our nation's motto is Latin, e pluribus unum. And you can see it at the back of every coin. It says, out of many, one. And if we stick to that, if we let that resonate within us in these tough times, I guess we could say that we fought the battle the only way we know how. Your battle is my battle, and we'll fight it together. Like e pluribus unum, it means out of many, one. And that is all.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. And once again, thank you for doing this. It was a pleasure.